episode of Book Reviews with Mr. Elrod. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be looking at a book that I recently listened to off of my phone. I think I talked to you guys a while back about getting into some audiobooks, and the primary reason that I looked into some audiobooks is because if I'm taking a long trip, if I'm driving somewhere, try to occupy my time with some things that are useful, and looking at some things that are interesting to me. So I talked to you about the program that our public library actually offers to us for free. Obviously, public library paid for through taxes, and then I guess through money that they have, they purchased our rights to this program. It's called RB Digital. Now, I'll say that for the most part, the options on RB Digital are not that great, but that's okay. I've been able to get a couple of books. I got a John Grisham book not too long ago. If you're into John Grisham, he's a great writer. Terrible endings, but great writing. And so we were taking a trip not too long ago, and so I was looking for something to listen to on our trip. And so I found this book. It is called The Notorious Benedict Arnold on my phone. So the author of The Notorious Benedict Arnold is a guy by the name of Steve Sheinkin. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly because in the English language, the I and the E situation can be a little bit confusing. So it was pretty interesting. I really enjoyed the book, by the way. In the world of history, we talk about what's called a narrative history. And so this is a biography, so it kind of lends itself to that a little bit more. When we talk about narrative histories, what we're referring to is the ability to tell the story or tell the history through a story kind of element. And so that's really what he does, is he makes the life of Benedict Arnold into much more of a story. Now, I thought I didn't really know a whole lot about Benedict Arnold. I just knew that he was a traitor to the United States during the American Revolution. Didn't really know a whole lot about him. I had watched some of the American AMC series. I think it was AMC series on Turned, and I thought apparently that's based on a book called Washington Spies. And so I got a little bit into the character of Benedict Arnold. I really liked the series, so that was good. I haven't been able to watch it here recently for various reasons, but I thought that was really good, and so it kind of got me interested in who he was as a person and kind of the things that happened in his life. So I just happened upon this biography, and so I checked it out on RB Digital. We went on our trip, listened to it on the way up there and on the way back, and I was able to finish and really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great book. I would highly recommend it to anyone who is interested. It was pretty well written. Now, because you're listening to the book, a lot of times, I think I mentioned this, you overlook some of the things maybe that you're reading. So I don't really know anything about, as far as the book is concerned, don't really know anything about footnotes, don't know anything about endnotes. Steve is not apparently a professional historian. He worked and I looked this up from his website, he was a copy editor, and then he was made to be he was a textbook writer for a publishing company. They saw some of the editing that he did, and apparently they liked it, and so they put him on to writing paragraphs in history textbooks, and so that's kind of where he got his start in writing history. So I don't really know so much about in terms of his formal education on writing and historical work and things like that. So because I didn't have the book, didn't have a chance to check that out. But the story itself was really good, and apparently this was supposed to be more of I want to say children's, but maybe young adult. Which I guess I see that. I didn't really notice it as I was going through the book. It was just, it was a good story, it was well written. It seemed kind of short in terms of the amount of time it took me to listen to the book. So I guess maybe that was a tip off for me as far as it being in the young adult area. But it really told the story of Benedict Arnold really well. As far as the things that happened to him, he seems like a really kind of interesting character. I'd say that from his biography, or I guess, from the book that Steve wrote, and then the biography of George Washington that I'm listening to right now, probably one of the things that's gotten on my nerves, but it maybe kind of has caught in my ire as I've been listening to it, is kind of the guesstimation that goes on. Because what's happening is they're looking at various diary entries, and they're looking at trying to find out rationale for why they behave a certain way. You can't really know unless the person comes out and tells you why they behaved in a certain way or what their motivations were. And so, some guesstimating that's going on. Oh, well, maybe this, maybe that. Oh, but we can't really know. It's like, so why even talk about it? Like, just leave it alone. If you want to make some hypothesis, then make another book and then try to chase that particular hypothesis. So I really kind of got aggravated by that. And I'm kind of seeing that a little bit in the George Washington biography that I'm listening to right now, which, it's actually worked out pretty well because I listened to the Benedict Arnold biography. Now I'm on to a George Washington biography, and I'm actually reading a book at home that is on the American Revolution. It features, it revolves around Thomas Paine, Thomas Jefferson, and then James Madison. And so it's all three of these books are revolving around the same time period, same events, and so it's been really interesting to hear from the different perspectives the events that are happening during the the American Revolution, and so I really appreciated that and the opportunity to learn there. So as far as the book is concerned, again, well written, very interesting, moves pretty fast. If you don't know anything about Benedict Arnold, I think this is a great place to go. It doesn't necessarily cast a whole lot of judgment on Benedict Arnold. Obviously, traitor to the United States, people might have some strong feelings about him. But it was certainly interesting to see kind of his behavior and the things that he was after. It's almost like he was after glory, but he also wanted to help with the cause of the American Revolution. And when he couldn't get glory, then that's when he went over to the British. He didn't feel like he was being appreciated enough, and that's really the way that's kind of the impression I got when I was watching the TV show Turn. And so, I guess it just reiterates that particular point. So, really interesting book, very well written. If you're interested in that, I would recommend you checking it out. Highly recommend these various digital resources that you can either get for free, or if you are on Amazon, or if you are a part of. The lights just went off. What's that other one that's out there? I'm not going to worry about standing up and turning the lights back on. Audible, yeah. If you have the opportunity to get Audible, just a good way to make good use of your time, so that you can listen to various books and whatnot. So that's where I'm at. Pretty soon I'll be done with the George Washington biography. I'll give you my thoughts on that. And thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.